Erade mu adofo yemamu nyina afrishiapa ewo Easter erade amayin akwanya mayenso afi yehubi Easter bra Christopher wiase nyina ye shefa afa Christo amani huni ni wo na fe ni wo sori wa sori efre wufo enti nyina ye ka se Christ asori wa sori ampa Sansemfue Emma Edidaso Sansemfue Ede Ensakraye Eba Nipa Ebusia Ene Wiase Asetinem Emra ye womi se wiase anasa ankrankro ye wa ahohiehia kasiera mu ye enye sikasam ko ebusiam adwumayem ya akwantuo ene ye bibiara yeyo ya ho bambokra so ewa ahohiehiem na sa afidida yedi Christ wu sorry emaye didaso emaye tumi free sa ahohiehia no mu eba nkwa jese ahoto ewo Kristo wu sorry ede nsakraye kese ebre nipa eni wiase mfa na enyina de na yegidi se wawuo de na yegidi se ni daso biara ni ho bio ye ka se Christ asori wa sorry ampa ede ensakraye ena eba abusiafo se ye shefa etise ya na emayenso yenye ni daso foforo emayenso yenya nsakraye foforo ewo yen mu eni ya sitina ye sha ase free aban mu ye sha ase free enwumam ye sha ase free abusuam ne ba bibiara ye wosa ankrankra Christ wu sorry no e de ahoden foforo bi ebre eyi yen free otan mu eba odomu eyi yen free achinye mu ema yenya nidaso eyi yen free eniema boni mu e de yemba niema foforo enunti manu di sebi mu ye me kuto asre yen aye hyefa nyina ne se ye beye nkofo a Christ wu sorry etumi ahoden ewom no ebe sachira yen na nunu yen ne yen so ye nam so ama wiase enye ni daso foforo wiase enya nsakraye foforo eno ena wu sorry anase Easter edebre adasama enyara na se ba ne sadia ena na eyi yen free yen pro yemu eyi yen free pesamim kuminyam eyi yen free enibrimu eyi yen free me na emom emayetene yensa ehwe de woni bi emayetene yensa ehwe de nani daso asa Easter bra esese won a ewo ahokyeremu enya ahoto soronko efrise ye nyinara wo sorry etumi no asesa ye nti no ye de yenso ye moa ema afoforo ye mu ene ye tutu asre ye nuan ma hyenkafo a enam ye nkwan so se ye so a ye nuan do anko wonkro makodi sa afidi dai ama ye benya tobo ase e wa yakwan so nanka Easter we die ye nya akwanhia biara ye aye ko ne ye banso ye de ahoto enigye eni asomdwe wo sa wu sorry etumi no mo asa aba abeto a ye maso yesre ema aban yesre ema musuakuo yesre ema ankrankro biara se wu sorry etumi erade na dom ewom na somdwe ewom edidaso ewom ensisen ewom emra yemfi emra yabusuam emra yakoma ni emfasa DJ entwa yakwantu ewa afi yemamu nyina Easter Afrisiapa Christ sorry was sorry amen this year etiso entiso ye ankrankro anase onu nko agina honom no obeka tu dwakra no a the parliament e ka no ene nyina ye de ba be ye adwuma so oka de ogina eye ebeboa but sisi a de ba bi akwa akoduru ne se ye hwe ma parliament abobo hu no omo nso omato omaba omo tu wi a ebekọ omampanyi ho emo no nso ordinance ashase. The Right Reverend Dr. Emmanuel Asarekusi, who is the Bishop of the Koforidua Diocese, was elected as the coordinator of evangelism and mission for Africa. So we have one other person serving on the executive of the African Methodist Council currently. Yes. And we also tried to put together the men's movement for which our brother Edward Ofori, who is the chairman of the Men's Fellowship Ghana, as the interim chair, as well as Mr. Kublenu, who is the interim secretary. So we have all these people serving as executives of the African Methodist Council from Ghana.
What about the Reverend Anthony Koba?
You are right. Yeah, we also have Very Reverend Anthony Koba, who has been our treasurer, and he continues to be our treasurer. Yes, our honorary treasurer. He gives the money. Yes. Of all the Methodist families in Africa. And when we talk of the Methodist families, we are talking about those who have their roots in the teachings of John Wesley and Charles Wesley. We know of various strands of Methodists. One of them is the British Methodists. We also have the United Methodists. We have the AME Zion, which is also having its roots as Methodist. We have Christian Methodists, which is also a Methodist family. So in Africa, you have various Methodist strands all over, from north to south, east to west. And we come together to form the Council of Methodists in Africa. In other parts of the globe, we have those in Europe, those in North America, and we come together to form the World Methodist Council, which is headquartered in the US. Here in Africa, we meet every 4 years to elect new presidents and new officers. And the last second conference of the African Methodist Council held in Cotonou, Benin, I was elected as the president of the Africa Methodist Council, coming after the first president, who was the Right Reverend Joseph Itumbura of Kenya. Then, apart from the president, we have vice presidents. We have 5 vice presidents. We have vice president Anglophone, West Africa, vice president Francophone, West Africa, Southern Africa, East Africa, and Central Africa. And so we elected new vice presidents for these regions, sub-regions. Then we have coordinating officers. Coordinating officers who also make sure that the work of the council goes on effectively. You have those who are in charge of Wesleyan studies, the one who is also in charge of communication. We have one in charge of justice and development. And then we have the women's coordinator. We'll make all these coordinators meet so that they can bring about the ideas, they can bring about the reforms, they can bring about our social teachings in the whole of Africa. And when you take the Methodist families, we just don't come into communities with the spiritual life of the people, but we are also interested in their social work and other things. Social interventions and all of these, we play our advocacy role, making sure that there is indeed true holistic transformation in people and societies. So this, in brief, is the Africa Methodist Council. And I must say that the council's headquarters is in Accra, or Ghana, and it is here. We have our General Secretary, who is Very Reverend Opeyemi Ahwe from Nigeria. We have now elected a new General Secretary who is from Zimbabwe. He will be coming very soon to stay here. So Accra is hosting the headquarters of the African Methodist Council. Edinburgh, and say, the president, if he or may more, a man maya a war, a bibrim ha, Methodist war, almost can cool no dear, woman in our two or many Ghana ha and ever. So we hear Mwebi say, here say, your cohort you could be Juman, Ghana ha and almost two or many eshe. Ama asor no so aba benye nyina so kese e wa bibrim ha se baby biara Methodist ni bi ewo e wa bibrim ha o hwa obeka so ye kɔ nkran na ye kɔ Ghana ɛhɔ ene president wo ɛhɔ nso ne secretariat wo a ye kɔ ne akɔ akodi dwuma nti ebema ya mankɔfo bebre nso aba ɔman yi mu ye nso ye befiri ha akɔ miamia na ye akɔ pese Methodist, sorry, any share any jumedi, saying they see Koso, see a call Nigeria, see a call Benin, see a call La Côte d'Ivoire, na you call Mozambique, you call Kenya, you call Equatorial Guinea. When you na Cambo one, let us say, Omu Ghana say Ghana and the Tiakuya one, the BBN, your 3 say I can't LGBTQI someone. Methodist are sorry, dear. Methodist are sorry, Ghana. You see a Gina yeda da. Dear, can I say ye jintu? Say ma ne ma beware, mema ne mema ebeda. Ye jintu. Eninti ebra, eba o men yimwa, ye bohun de room. A sorry, Gina. I can say, ma aban jintu. Ma parliament yintum ma obi biara enyintum aye sha yeguso aye bohun dawru enti ye hon krata e de akọ parliament no coalition no na Methodist sorry ye wo Christian council munti ye di mu akoten papa na me di anim na ye de ya anu disem ekọ parliament ye de akodan enti empire ye bo ene se parliament ebesi ni ginaye me who say Ghana there LGBTQA++ as a and ye come. Ye jina ye. Church must say ye can't Methodist are sorry. Baby bia Methodist are sorry a one within a mensing. Ain't obi she obi. Any uncle shambran so baby near and can say. Mo a bibrim and I mo ha moon so. Ubia edi ne mansi. Enti se wamono idea to mo on one. And no crampo no akwakoye oye ne kese ama woma omuhu baby o mo de kro. Yen de nya de o betumi de aba abehye yen se yen ye sa LGBTQ no ento. Say ye di mansi. We are an Independent Autonomous Methodist Church Ghana. Enti obia ni yensu tumia or the bibi bebre. 4 years. 4 years I'll be president of the African Methodist Council. And it's a young organization or council that we formed about 8 years ago, but the beginnings has been for over 15, 20 years. Now we want to expand and bring more of the Methodist family into the council. And then we would also, in fact, at our last conference, the theme that we deliberated on was bringing social transformation to Africa and making sure that we would partner governments, institutions that can make sure that there is transformation, proper transformation. In fact, when we talk of transformation, we are talking about holistic transformation, spiritual, physical,